Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is a past episode taken from my podcast. I'm slowly moving my entire episode library to YouTube. Now, just as a heads up, there's no editing on these. You may hear me out of breath, traffic going by, and occasionally me tripping. It's literally just me talking in my phone while I'm walking around my neighborhood at night like a crazy person. Wonder what the neighbors think of that. Anyway, the episode info can be found in the description. With all that said, enjoy the show. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. This is Tanner from TanmanBaseballFan.com and Beckett. Beckett the Great is on my lap right now. Super busy nowadays, and it just so I'm having a hard time getting through everything. I had to go through some talking through some things with Holly last night that had to do with our personal life, and so that kind of took away some exercise time for me to do a podcast. And today I'm in the middle of restoring a website with some issues that I'm dealing with for a client while I'm here at home with Beckett. And Holly and Atticus are off to jiu-jitsu class. So we've got like a lot of stuff going on, but I figured as long as Beckett's not crying, he's like looking at this phone right now, just like in awe, like, what is this thing? So as long as he's not going to be crying like crazy, and I apologize if he is, I'll try to stop this and, pause until he's done. But I figure I'd get started with another podcast here. So it's the Tanner and Beckett podcast, episode number 1 with us together. So I want to start off because I had a very intriguing message from somebody named Anthony, and he left a voice message on this podcast. So by the way, if you go to my podcast on anchor.com, I guess, or anchor.fm, I don't really know exactly what it is, but you can leave a voicemail. It's up to a minute long. Do that for me if you don't mind. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them online. So the question that Anthony had was regarding what do you do if you have like a special attachment to some baseball cards that you might have pulled or otherwise. So I thought this would make a good springboard into my next topic here for this anyways. So Anthony, thank you for reaching out and asking the question. I completely get it. I understand when you pull cards, sometimes they have like a special attachment or meaning to them, and that's completely understandable. So my question is, my suggestion basically, it just kind of really depends on what you're trying to do. And hang on, let me readjust back here real quick, and we'll get back to this. I'm going to try to walk him around a little bit. Before my arm falls off here. But anyway, so yeah, one thing that I think is a great idea, when you have cards that you pulled that have found special meaning, for just because you pulled them, if that's your only emotional attachment to them, my recommendation would be just sell them, especially if they're not one of ones. So, and I'll give you an example. There's a 2007 SP rookie signature card of Tim Lincecum that I pulled. That was an autograph back in 2010, 2011. It's when Lincecum was like a really big deal. And I was super excited, of course, because he was the man back then. But the thing was, like anybody with like $150 or whatever could pick one up on eBay. Same goes for 2010 Bowman Chrome. I went Strasburg hunting on all the Targets and Walmarts back in 2010, 2011. Got all the 2010 Bowman Blasters I could get, and I pulled a purple refractor during Strasburg Mania, which, that was a big deal too. The only attachments I had to Lindsay and Strauss were the fact that I pulled them. So they weren't, really particularly rare or anything. So what I did is I sold them at the height of their popularity with the understanding that if I wanted to get them back, I certainly could, but maybe when they cooled off. But guess what? There's no interest in me having a 2010 Bowman Chrome Purple Refractor Strasburg or a 2007 SP Rookie Edition Tim Lincecum autograph, which, by the way, the Lincecum was awesome. It was like in the It was in the design of 93 SP foil, like the Jeter is. So beautiful card. Both of them were beautiful, but because the only interest I had in them and value in them was because I pulled them, it was very easy for me to let go of them. And really just to kind of extrapolate from this idea out even further, you can really find meaning out of any cards that you want. It really just kind of depends. Let me go ahead and hop into my office here. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to look at some Conseco cards. Now I've got a desk or a table behind my desk where just cards are strewn about, and I'm trying to look here what I have. So one that's like really meaningful to me is my 2017 Leaf Q Jose Canseco. I'm looking at it right now. It is, in my opinion, in my ever so humble opinion, the best looking leaf card that I've ever laid my eyes on. It's a 1 of 1. It's got gold holofoil, and it's got my favorite piece. It's autographed also. But my favorite piece about it is the big jumbo patch. It has about half of the elephant sleeve patch logo, beginning with the beautiful gold A's emblem right in the middle. So it's fun because obviously Leaf can't use any logos, yet right there the biggest part of that card is the A's logo. So I love it. And the funny thing is to the right of them, the Canseco picture has the airbrushed picture because of course they can't show these logos inside the picture. So now the fact that it's quite possibly the most beautiful patch card of Canseco that I've ever seen, the story for me on that card doesn't end there. The whole reason why it means so much more to me is because I remember when Leaf tweeted out this picture on Twitter, and yeah, because you tweet on Twitter and not anywhere else, I guess, on them interwebs. But anyways, I remember I think Brian Gray posted a picture before it was signed or something like that, and my jaw dropped. Holy crap. From a design perspective, a memorabilia perspective, an autograph perspective, it was perfect. Like there's nothing else that could have been done to make this better. I loved it so much. So from that point on, I go, okay, I've got to do everything I can to acquire this card. So fast forward into the release date of 2017 Leaf Q, which by the way, y'all, check that site or that set out. It's incredible, especially for the flashback cards. They're amazing. Like everybody's like, oh, unlicensed, it's terrible, it's garbage. No, these are insane. In fact, I have the rainbow of these patch cards of Canseco, and I consider this to be the best, hands down, rainbow patch set of his ever. So anyways, but I'm a design guy, so design means a lot to me, and they just fit very well, perfectly all together. So anyways, we decide as a family that we are going to go. Yeah, you have anything to say about this? You might have heard Beckett in the background, but anyways, he's literally like a foot away from my phone here as I'm recording this, as I'm walking around. Anyway, so we decide to go to Legoland in Florida for vacation in 2017. Now, much to my chagrin, this ended up being when Leaf was being released, Leaf Q. So it's like, oh no, if anybody, yeah, I know you're excited about this, aren't you, kiddo? If anybody is excited as much as I am about this set, about this card in particular, I'm in big trouble because this is going to go for big money. So I was like checking my phone all the time, and I remember we were actually in Legoland, which by the way, y'all check it out. It's a great place, and we are Lego-holics here. Atticus loves Legos. He's turning 17 tomorrow, and I'm sure he'd be tickled if he got a bunch of Legos. So it's pretty great. We that's how we roll over here. But anyway, so we're walking in Legoland, and sure enough, it pops up. Oh my gosh! And y'all, it is $1,500 for this card. And so I go, oh man, I don't know about this. That's pretty steep. But I was like, well, if there ever was a card to get, then for that money, for me, this is it. So I end up getting it. And it took a little while for me to justify the price and everything. I was like, no, I've got to do it. No, I can't do that. But I was like, well, what would I feel like if I missed it? If I missed the most beautiful patch card of Conseco that I've ever seen. So I pulled the trigger. Luckily, I had some discounts and coupons and stuff for eBay. So that helped quite a bit on the purchase. But when I got it, I just remember, like, I was so excited because I had picked up the card that I wanted the most, almost ever. And you know, I remember waiting to come home and, you know, find the card in my mailbox or whatever. So come home, get the card, pull it out, and it is just, it delivers. It is so beautiful. It is perfect and perfect in every way, and I just couldn't have loved it anymore. So, so when I sold out, the thing was, for me, was I put that up for sale also, and I think I told a few super collectors I'd be willing to do, I don't remember, $1,200 to $1,500, and ultimately, what ended up happening was me saying, nope, I'm going to keep this. Because at some point along the line, I decided I'm going to keep a few of these special Conseco cards. I don't have to sell these, you know, especially the ones I really, really, really love. So I kept it, and that's my story on that specific card. So for me to sell that card in general, like, not only is it the most beautiful Conseco patch card that I've ever seen, it also has a really cool story. Just a fun story that I was on vacation when it came up, and I was the one that got it from, you know, the first person that pulled it, and it survived me even offering it up for sale, which is insanity to me. And really, just to speak to that point, I think the only reason why it survived through me putting up for sale to begin with is because I had flooded the market with, like, the most ridiculous one-of-one Consecos ever. So, so I'm super happy that one fell through the cracks and for other collectors and stayed with me. But I mean, even like, let me tell you about this other card here too. And hang on one second, let me readjust Beckett. What you doing, huh? What are you doing? Yeah, look at some more baseball cards? Of course you do. Okay, so another one is a 1997 Pinnacle Totally Certified Platinum Gold. Now, that is one of my Holy Grail cards. And I remember there was, I think there was a user by the name of Athletics08. If I remember correctly, I could be getting that wrong. And yeah, I don't know. He'll probably not listen to this anyways. But if you are, you know, shout out to you. Thank you. He told me that to be on the lookout on ComC, because at some point there's going to be some A's cards or Conseco cards that might show up that are pretty rare. It's like, okay, all right, I'll do that. So I remember one night, like weeks after that, I was checking ComC on my phone, and sure enough, like, this card ends up in the sold section. I go, what the heck is going on? It was the 97 Platinum Totally Certified card. And I go, oh no, I missed it. And then, but as I did some digging, apparently sometimes these cards will be stuck in a queue for sold out, at least a few years ago. I don't know about it anymore. But before they actually go for sale, especially if somebody's doing a bunch in bulk. So what I decided to do is I decided to stay up real late that night, as well as almost all day the next day, and along with a buddy of mine named Ryan, who's a Will Clark super collector, and we were just refreshing ComC like crazy until these cards came available. So sure enough, I saw some Clarks pop, so I called him, and he was at the grocery store. He said that he would have missed it had I not said anything, apparently. So yeah, super happy to be able to help him out with those Clarks. So he picked up some cool Clarks that way. I think I took a nap at some point late afternoon, and when I woke up, like within 10 minutes, that card popped along with like this stream of other cards. Now the difference with the 97 Pinnacle Totally Certified Platinum card is mine does not have a number, so it means it's probably a proof or prototype of some sort. The rest are serial numbered to 30. For me personally, that's perfect for my collection. I love it because it's quite possible that's the only one out there that's ever been made without a serial number. There are other people that believe different from me, that they think that they're lesser than the pack-pulled versions of cards. For me, that adds to the allure and the mystery that this card is not supposed to have ever seen the light of day. So I loved it so much because of that. But anyway, so I got that, and interestingly enough, I ended up picking up a handful of other cards too that were really rare. And I was so pumped about it. I mean, it was awesome. But unfortunately, the problem is, and here, let me readjust back here real quick and I'll continue with my story. I'm telling y'all, like, he's 5 months old and he's getting heavy. He's eating good. But anyway, so unfortunately, the 97 Pinnacle Certified Platinum Gold, totally certified, didn't make it past, or didn't make it through the my selling rounds to stay with me. But so I sold it. But one thing that was great was I was able to go to the buyer, and I ended up trading a game-used autographed helmet of Jose Canseco back for that card. Now, if that doesn't tell you how much these baseball cards mean to me, that I would trade away that kind of memorabilia for it, then I don't know what does. But anyway, so that card to me holds special meaning, especially the seller. Not sure if I could say exactly who the seller was to begin with when I first got the card, but that adds more significance to me, as does actually selling it than getting it back. And I gotta say, y'all, it is just one of the most beautiful 90s cards ever, and that's saying a lot. So, to kind of go back, what are you doing, huh? You have something to say? You say it in the phone? You struggling? Okay. Let me readjust back here again. Oof. Come on, kiddo. There we go. Okay. So, to go back to what Anthony was saying, the thing that's really, the thing that makes me not want to sell those is, number one, both of those are one of ones, or quite possibly one of ones. The 2017 Leaf Q is one of one. The 97 Pinnacle Platinum is quite possibly a one of one, being that's the only one that doesn't have a serial number most likely out there. And plus, it's got a seal on the top that says, peel off. It's got peel, I guess you could say, on the top of it. Mine is the only one I've ever seen that has the words right side up, so it's kind of fun that way too. So those cards to me have special meaning, and the special meaning to me in those cards have overcome my desire to want to get rid of them even though I could really do really well on both of them, especially now. I think both of them would go quite a bit better than I would have if I was whenever I was selling them in the midst of selling everything else. So those cards have a lot of meaning to me because of the stories. Not because I pulled them, but just because of how they got into my collection and how the 97 actually came back in my collection. Now, I have piles of these other cards that I got rid of that I loved, but it didn't really hurt me getting rid of them because I knew there were others out there and I could always get them again. So, and really, if you look at any card, like I was saying to begin with, you can almost give meaning to any type of card that's in your collection now. Like, oh, my kid and I pulled this together, or, oh, I remember that I got this from Christmas from a box that my wife gave me, or, oh, this one card is from my childhood. I understand, I get it, and it's not bad to get rid of those, but when it comes to cards like that, a lot of times, like for me, for instance, the 2007 Linscomb, 2010 Strasburg. Hang on one second, guys. Sorry. Anyway, so whenever you have these types of cards come up, like the 07 Linscomb or the 2010 Strasburg, for me, the memory is the best part of it, not necessarily just the card, especially if you don't have any other emotional attachment to them. So what that means for me is I like to take pictures of the cards and maybe write about them, and so that just kind of becomes a memory. And so the memory is what's most important to me personally. So I don't know. I don't know if this is tracking with y'all. Like, there's one other card that was not really worth anything. I remember in 1989, I sent out a through the mail request autograph for Canseco, and I invited him to my 9th birthday, I guess, party. And sadly, he didn't come, which is unfortunate. But he did autograph the card. The problem is my mom, I think, suggested I wrap the card in cellophane. It was a 1989 Fleer card, and Canseco signed it on top of the cellophane. I was upset, and what's hilarious, y'all, is like, yeah, it took like 2 months to get back, which is like an eternity for 9-year-olds, right? But the funny thing is like, I never, ever in a million years thought of just getting another stamp, 25 cents at the time, and sending off another card. But then again, that 89 Fleer card or 88 Donruss, all those were like gold to me back then. So, but anyways, I had it up until probably about 7 years ago, I think, or so, and then I sold my entire collection. And there's part of me that wishes I didn't sell that card, but really, and I think this takes a little bit of mental discipline, is to remember that it's okay that those cards are gone because you still have the memory. You know, so that's where I am with this. The memories are most important. So to keep those memories alive, take pictures, write about them, talk about them. Like the 89 Fleer card wrapped in cellophane will not do me any good here. Though if I had a choice, I mean, I'd love to pick it up again. But, you know, again, it's not important. It's the memory and the story is. So anyways, Anthony, I hope that answers your question as far as where I come from on it. I appreciate the question. I think that's going to hopefully be valuable to those that are listening, because last thing we want to do is we don't want to have our collections clogged with cards that are not meaningful to us, but might have some sort of special place with us because of we pulled them or this or the other. So I guess it's really a judgment call for anybody on a case-by-case basis. But anyways, that's where I'm coming from. So thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you all have a great day.